What's up, YouTube? Special shout out to the subscribers here on the channel as usual, and welcome to another weekly video where I'm here to talk about all of the training that I'm doing to prepare for Ironman Texas, which is only 2 weeks away. I cannot believe that I'm here at this point. It feels so good to have 20 plus weeks of training in the rearview mirror. 2 more weeks to go, and I can honestly say this time, I've been wanting to say this week after week for the past few weeks, but I really feel like all the hard work is done. Like, done. It's behind me. Yesterday's training session was really tough, and I will get into it in this video, but when I was finished, I really felt there was no question that what I had just completed was the most difficult thing that I would have to do until the actual race. And that was a really nice feeling. Felt really good. So as usual, I'm going to talk through last week's training, talk about how everything went. We're going to look at the week coming up. And then after that, I'll probably just have a few more ramblings about how everything is going, and we'll be done here. So let's check out last week's training. I really enjoyed last week's training. It was like a really interesting mix of sort of taking the foot off the gas and also putting my nose to the grindstone on some days too. Particularly Friday, Saturday, and Sunday stacked together was a pretty tough little mini training block in the week. So starting off on Monday, super easy day. Had an easy swim on the plan with a recommended set. Like, I didn't even have a specific workout to do, just like go and swim. And I really enjoyed that. Swam for about 40 minutes, felt good. And then I went to yoga later on Monday. All in all, a really good, easy training day on Monday. Tuesday was a spicy training day. Now, this Tuesday brick workout that I did, 90-minute bike, 30-minute run, it was kind of interesting because it was going to be the first run that I had actually done at all since the 20-mile training run that I did the week previous, which was a huge deal for me. I've talked about it at length here. Check out last week's video if you're interested to hear any more about that 20-mile run. But the first run that I did post 20 miles last week ended up being this really sort of spicy or difficult interval run. And it was like, I was like, man, how's this going to go? Like, I haven't run in almost like 4 or 5 days. I'm supposed to go run these hard paces, and it actually ended up working out really well. So the workout on the bike was, the main set was 5 by 8 minutes of zone 3 at a low cadence with 2 minutes recovery. All of that felt really good on the bike. I think that was, 90-minute rides for me right now are on that sort of, easy, 90 minutes doesn't really feel like a lot right now, which is fantastic for me. I really enjoy feeling that way about 90-minute bike rides, but got that ride done, no problem. Onto the run, which called for 3-minute marathon pace, 3-minute half marathon pace, 3-minute 10K pace, and 1-minute walk. And now that 3-minute 10K pace was the part that really sort of alarmed me. I'm like, man, I haven't run that fast in weeks. However, if we take a look at how it all went down, pretty happy with it. Was working first 3 minutes for that 3-minute marathon pace. I'm doing about 7:23, dropped to half marathon pace, 6:58 for 3 minutes. And then that 10K pace, which should be under 6:30 for me. The first one I did at 6:36, not quite there. But I was, again, this is the first time I had run since that 20-mile run, so I, mentally I was just sort of like, it felt a little overwhelming to be just like, all right, boom, let's go run 6:30 pace. Anyway, this is why I don't coach myself, like I would never come up with this, having the, the training plan there, having my coach tell me to do these things. It really enables me to go out and try and get it rather than question, should I be doing this or should I be whatever. I just try to go and execute the best I can. And if I can do it, I can do it. If I can't, I can't. However, on Tuesday, I was able to do it. The second set of 3 minutes, I was at 7:09 for the first 3 minutes. Then I went to 6:55 and then 6:29. So I just snuck into that 10K pace. And then on the last one, 6:57 into the 6:25 for the last 3 minutes. I was really happy with that. The last 3 minutes, I really actually got into that 10K range. So spicy workout on Tuesday, a little bit of a shock to the system. Good to get it done. Wednesday was another sort of easier day. 1 kilometer continuous in the pool. similar to Monday where it was just like a short swim. The goal for that workout was to swim 1,000 yards, picking up the pace every 200. So I kind of started easy, worked up through moderate, hard, fast, and then sort of max effort for the last 200. And that went pretty smoothly. And that was it for the day. I've kind of cut out the strength training that I've been doing as I'm getting closer to the race because it's not really a time to necessarily get stronger. I don't really have time anymore to get stronger. So easy swim on Wednesday. On to Thursday. Thursday blew my mind. 30-minute bike ride. I was like, what? A 30-minute bike ride? That's crazy. So I was tempted to go outside and ride, but honestly the process of getting my bike off the trainer, getting the wheel on it, getting all the stuff to go outside, that might have taken longer than the 30-minute ride. So I just hopped on the trainer, knocked it out, and then just that feeling of like, okay, only 30 minutes. Yesterday I only swam for 35 minutes. Today I'm only riding for 30 minutes. I think I really had sort of a bee in my bonnet to do more activity. So I ended up going and hiking about an hour and a half. Really beautiful day. It was really wonderful, I thought, to get out in that nice weather, just take a nice walk. Such a nice alternative to doing chores or sitting around or watching YouTube or something like that. So that wasn't on my training plan, but I threw it in there. Really glad I did. So Thursday, easy ride, nice walk, no big deal. Moving into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I mentioned before, this was kind of a tough 3-day block to do. And the reason why it was kind of a large volume of training each day. And sort of, there was a lot of hard running in there as well. So 3 days in a row of running. So Friday had a longer swim. That's a 90-minute swim. And I was swimming about an hour and 17 minutes to swim further than the race distance. So again, another swim where I've swam the 2.4 miles around an hour 15, which is really right where I want to be. So it was a bunch of 200s on that swim, 5x200 easy, then steady, 4x200 steady, 3x200 mod hard, 2x200 fast, 200 max effort. And then at the end of that, swam just nice and easy for the remaining 12 minutes. The goal was to get to 90 minutes of total time. So just kind of had to finish out that last little bit there. After the swim, hopped onto a steady pace run. So run at easy pace. Really enjoyed this run. It was nice to get out after the swim. And I usually don't feel the best on runs after swimming, but this one was a little bit different. Kept the pace nice and even and steady, kept my heart rate nice and low, ended up with an average heart rate in the zone 1, and I was just inside my easy pace range, a 7:53 average. Good run, good swim, 2.5 hour training block on Friday, went pretty well. Saturday had a progressive set interval run for an hour 45 minutes. I forgot to start my Garmin, so you'll see it's hour 33. My Garmin didn't get started until about 8 minutes into the run. I was talking with some friends. So ended up doing this run with a person that I've spent a lot of time training with. I just haven't been doing any training with him recently. So it was really kind of fun to get out with him, for the first time in a while, go run together. I was supposed to warm up for 20 minutes and then do 4x1 mile at half marathon pace. However, just kind of wanted to chat. So I ended up kind of running easy for the first hour or so and just talking. And then, once I realized I needed to fit in the 4x1 mile and I needed to start, if I didn't start, I wasn't going to fit it in. And then my friend did 2 of those 1 mile intervals with me, and then I did the last 2 on my own. And they all went pretty well. So an hour of easy pace running, and then I did a 7:05, a 7:03, a 7:05, and a 7:02. So really consistent in that half marathon pace to finish off that run. Overall, enjoyed that run, pretty good. Wasn't feeling too fatigued, and that was a good day too. Now, getting into Sunday, again, Friday, Saturday, tough days, but manageable. Sunday, 3-hour half Ironman sim brick, which was just 3 hours of intensity. I mean, it It was an interesting workout because almost the entire time I was working at a higher effort than I will need to on race day for Ironman Texas. So like I should not be spending that much time in my zone 3 power output, maybe here and there a little bit, but you know, and certainly not any time in my zone 4 power output. But that's what the workout was all about. It was, 10-minute easy warm up and then boom, 40-minute zone 3 into 20-minute zone 4 with a 5-minute recovery. Kind of a tough workout. There's not a lot of recovery in there. If you think about it, it's pretty much an hour straight of zone 3, zone 4, a little bit of recovery, and then do it again. And then the run off of that ride was also a lot of intensity. There was no easy pace running at all in this 45-minute run. It was 3 by 15 minutes, 4-minute marathon pace, 6-minute half marathon pace, 4-minute marathon pace, 1-minute walk. So very, very kind of an interesting training day, much more intensity than I'm used to on these Sunday workouts. The ride was actually a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I really, who doesn't like going fast on their bike, especially when you spend, all this time, getting your bike into a good aero position and, putting faster wheels on it. Like we want to go fast, right? So, of course, it's fun when you're cruising around at the higher speeds. I averaged 22.6 miles an hour on this ride. The really fun part, though, that second zone 4 set, I was flying. Check this out. Oh my gosh. Where is it? Yeah. This one. So that final zone 4, I averaged 305 watts, which is great. That's low zone 4 for me. Look at this average speed. 27.1 mile per hour average for just about 20 minutes of riding. Dude, that was fun. I really enjoyed that. Kept looking down. I had a max speed of 30.4 miles an hour. And this is, there's no hills around here. This is just flat riding. So, honestly, I recognize that there was an environmental factor in this, in that I had a tailwind. But it wasn't like I was getting pushed from behind dramatically. I was still having to work really hard to get up to that speed. But, the combination of 305 watt average and the tailwind that I had, I was flying. So super fun. Got done with the ride in under 2 hours to go 44, almost 45 miles. Fantastic pace. Again, much higher output than I'm going to be looking to do at Ironman Texas. Off the ride, got onto that run, and it was about 85 degrees at this point. Real intensity on the bike, straight into this run. Came out the gate. I got the first 15 minutes. I nailed the first 15 minutes. Then the second and the third one were kind of slipping a little bit. So that first 4 minutes started out 7:20, sped up to about 6:59, back down to 7:14. So that's kind of the ideal pace range there. That first one was good. Second one, a little bit slower, 7:19 on the 4 minutes. And then 6:58 on the 6 minute, which was right where I should be. But then 7:23, about 10 seconds off the target on that second one. Moving into the last set, started out again a little bit slow, 7:18. Barely could not get under 7:10. Just barely got under 7:10 for the 6 minutes at half marathon. And during this effort, I was starting to make noises, like I was kind of like grunting and just whining and just feeling super uncomfortable. My average heart rate at that point was getting up there, was getting pretty high. 177, which is well above my that's pretty much my threshold heart rate right there. And then it got even higher. So check this out. The last interval, I slowed down and my heart rate actually went up. I was not having it. My heart rate was like 183, 181. So that's just a super uncomfortable for me. That's like a very uncomfortable state to be in. So even though I'm running at a pace that should be somewhat comfortable, the fact that my heart rate was in the 180s and it felt so hot, it was like I said, 85 degrees. It was tough. And I realized in that last 15 minutes or so that how hard I was having to push myself to get there, to have my heart rate like that, to be trying to hang on to that pace. And I thought to myself, I was like, this is really freaking hard. Like, this is like, I'm killing myself out here. I'm turning myself inside out trying to get this pace. But then I realized I'm not going to have to run this fast for weeks. Like, I don't have to run this fast during the race. Like, I don't have to push myself this hard. I don't have to work like this again until race day. Like, it was just kind of it was weird because, like I said, it was really hard. I realized it was really hard, but there was this sort of like comfort that came along in knowing that this was kind of the last hard training day. So yeah, really wonderful. I'm really happy that I was able to complete the workout, even though it was very challenging, even though that heart rate went up. And then lucky me, I got to do a 90-minute massage on Sunday afternoon. So yesterday afternoon, I went and got a massage. Super, super fantastic. I mentioned in last week's video that I was starting to have some discomfort in my shoulder on my long ride last weekend. Obviously, I was able to train through the whole week and it didn't really impact anything, but my shoulder was really just sort of hanging by a thread, like, trying to get recovered with the shoulder and doing, 3 swims, all these rides. My shoulder was really just not happy. Got into the massage yesterday. She spent most of the time focusing on this whole area for me. And during that process, she said, hey, everything is attached. You haven't torn anything. It just feels like a lot of overuse. And when she said that, it kind of lit off the light bulb in my head. I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to swim tomorrow. Maybe I can push that swim back. So that takes us into this week's training coming up. I had this swim today, but again, I decided, let's let my shoulder rest. Why, getting a massage and then waking up the next morning and going and ripping in the pool when my shoulder feels like this 2 weeks out from race day, I didn't see it. It didn't work. And I know that in the past, talking to my coach, moving swims is one of the easier things to move around. So, on Tuesday I have this hour 30 ride to do. There's really no reason I can't go and knock this swim out tomorrow morning. Get done with that, come home, have a meal, hop on the bike, and then that way today my shoulder's getting a chance to relax and rest a little bit. So made that sort of game time decision. Slept in this morning, really just trying to absorb the weekend's training. I will probably hit up yoga this evening, and then tomorrow I will swim and ride. The swim is pace change 400s. This is one that I've done a handful of times recently. It's basically two sets of 4x400, and you're looking to try to go faster on the second set of 4. So you descend across 4 400s, take a rest, then descend against 4 400s again, but you're trying to basically go a little bit faster than all of the swims that you did on the first set. So it's a pretty long swim, 8x400, that's a 3,200 yard main set. You add in the warm up and the cool down. This will be another swim where I'm close to that 2.4 mile distance. Hopefully feeling good, and I'm really optimistic that my shoulder will feel better tomorrow and I will enjoy the swim. After the swim, we have a 90-minute bike ride with 3 by 10 minute zone 3, 5-minute recovery, 45 minutes of intervals, 45 minutes of easy riding. I'll take it. That sounds great. So that's my workout for tomorrow. Wednesday, I've got another 4x1 mile at half marathon pace. Honestly, at this point, these miles at half marathon pace, they have been tolerable. This entire training session, every time I've had this type of workout, I have always been able to do it. I've never had a single time where I haven't been able to hit the 4x1 mile. So I'm optimistic that this will be another successful 4x1 mile at half marathon pace. For me, that's right around like 7:05 to like 6:48, like somewhere in that, high 6, low 7. So that should be good on Wednesday. Thursday, a little bit of a chunky bike ride. We've got 45-minute low zone 3 and then 4x8 minute low zone 4. another workout that I'm pretty familiar with. I've done this a handful of times in recent weeks. I think this will be enjoyable. There's no run to do off the bike, just the ride. So Thursday will be a good training day. Friday, back to the pool. We've got a pretty quick set. Like, there's no way this is going to take me an hour. This will probably be like a 45-minute swim. So that is looking good for Friday. And then a steady run, only 45 minutes this time instead of an hour like last week. So Friday will be a nice training day as well. Moving into Saturday, which is usually a long run day for me, 30-minute easy spin, 30-minute easy run. What? This is exciting. This is sort of like the beginning of the taper that's coming, right? Where like I'm sort of, the volume intensity of the training is starting to decrease. I'm hopefully absorbing the prior few weeks of hard training, and I will hopefully be feeling nice and fresh and recovered by the time race day comes. And a big part of that is, kind of, like I said, cutting down this volume, cutting down this intensity. So Saturday, just an hour total, easy spin, easy ride. So cool. And then Sunday, the last 2-hour bike ride of my training plan is here. And this is going to be a lot better than yesterday's ride. Yesterday's ride was like 2 hours of intensity the whole time. Here we're looking at 6 by 5 minute main set. So what is that, 30 minutes? Yeah, so it's like a 30-minute interval set. Yeah, this is I got this. This will be good. 5 minutes, 6 by 5 minutes, 2-minute zone 3, 1-minute zone 4, 2-minute zone 4, 3-minute zone 2 between sets. So this is going to be a little bit of a, these are fast intervals. So this will be kind of an exciting little workout to do, I think. And then remaining time at IRONMAN effort. Can do. That sounds great. So it's basically a 2-hour ride with 30 minutes of intervals, and then the rest of the time at my IRONMAN effort, which is zone 2. So again, a much more, I don't want to say easier, but it is easier, much easier ride compared to last weekend's ride. And then a 30-minute run at easy pace. So that is the week coming up. And if we'll look, we'll kind of do a little bit of a look ahead here. If you see here, Ironman Texas is right there on Saturday. And then in the days before that, I've got 45-minute run, 30-minute spin, 90-minute spin, 30. This stuff is all a lot less intense and a lot shorter than I've been doing. So that's looking really good. So, well, I think that's just about everything. Really enjoyed making these videos over the last 20 weeks. The next one I do is going to be all about race week. In the next video, I think I will spend a little time talking about some of the goals that I have for the race. Also talk about sort of what I hope to do in the race versus the last time I did an Ironman. So next week video is going to be a little bit different. I'll touch on how the training is going, of course, but I'll talk mostly probably about what I hope to do on race day in terms of times and power outputs, things like that, just to sort of get that all down here in the vlog. And then it'll be time to go and do the race. Now, I also want to kind of speak into the future a little bit more here, because I will be traveling and leaving Texas for about 2 weeks the Monday after the race. So I'll be going to Colorado for a little while. My wife has a work trip and I'm tagging along. I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be a great way to sort of decompress after the race. I do think that I should have time on that Monday, on the 28th. I should have time to make one more video about how the race went. I really hope that the race goes well, obviously, and I'm really, really looking forward to sitting down here in 2 weeks and talking about how the race actually went down. I think that's going to be a really really powerful for me, just personally, to be able to unpack everything. So I will right now tentatively promise that I should be able to give an update on how everything went before I take off for 2 weeks and I don't upload any videos for a while. So, and then of course, I do want to make like a sort of a final, sort of longer format video where I talk a little bit about the training process and the race all together in one. Maybe incorporate some footage that we get from the race day, things like that. Not really my strong suit. I don't have a lot of like editing experience or shooting videos to edit them experience. So it's not going to be, a huge jump in quality or professionalism. It's just going to be a little bit more than usual. I would love to make a video like that after I get back from Colorado, and we'll upload that as well. So thank you so much for tuning in, listening to me speak on all of these things that I hope will happen. Training is going well. I think my shoulder's going to be just fine. I'm really just being careful. And I will be back next week to talk you through how everything went, just as usual. So thanks again for tuning in. As usual, if you have anything to say about this process, any questions, any feedback, anything from encouragement, discouragement, whatever it is, if you want to get involved and talk to me, I am monitoring the comments. I don't get a lot of comments, so anytime I get them, I'm right there. I'm reading them. I'm replying. Would love to chat with you about any of this. And thanks again one more time for taking the time to check this out today. So have a good one, and I'll see you next week.